Nick, how's it, bud? Hope you're good. Heinrich, how's it, bud? Hope you guys are well. Thanks for watching. Evening, guys. Hope you're all well. Lots of guys joining now, so thanks for tuning in for episode 2 tonight. Involves a very special guest, a good friend of mine, a good friend to a lot of guys playing out there currently. One of the older guys in the game, in South Africa. Pite van Biljon had a long journey, a long road to success. He's one of the guys, the oldest debutants in the national side. So welcome. We're just waiting for him to connect, and then we'll get going. As you can see, I donned a cap tonight. I couldn't catch more abuse from the other night with my prison hairstyle, and I thought I'll just take it as it is. So again, thanks guys for joining. I appreciate it. Just waiting for the man himself. If you guys have any other questions, maybe just fire me a WhatsApp or just send me a question directly on the thing here. All right, I see he's joined now, so we're going to get him online straight away. All right. Pite.
Yes, how's it?
Good on yourself.
I'm all right, thanks.
Good. You just need to get your volume up a bit there.
All right.
There we go. Go. Awesome
Better.
stuff. How's it going?
I'm chilled. Not much
Good.
going
Good.
on. Yeah.
Good to have you with us.
Thanks, buddy.
I just quickly want to introduce you. Nite's captain, current captain, just made a recent debut in the national side. First class average of 43.14 and T20's average of 31.55 and a strike rate of 132.62. So some good numbers you got there.
No, thank you. It's been
hard work to get those numbers, I'm sure.
Better luck on the way.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for joining us on the show. I'm sure you saw how it went the other night. Nice and relaxed. I have some questions, and I see a couple more questions coming through at the bottom there already, so I've jotted one or two down. But yeah, nice and easy, nice and relaxed. If you need a second to get a coffee or anything, by all means, take your time.
I've got
all right.
one.
So I'm going to fire straight away. Built on, even better. I'm going to fire off straight away with a nice and easy one. Your journey, your cricketing background, where did it start? I know you played with club cricket up here, but take us through that.
Obviously went to school in Bloemfontein Grey College. Started playing club cricket for a club called Skuman Park. At that stage, we had a really good youth section, and guys in the under 15 school teams already started playing men's cricket there. So I actually started playing, and Alan Donald was one of the guys who was one of the pros at the club. So that's where things kind of, and Tubby Jordan, one of our selectors now at the Knights, also he was my captain at the club. So that's kind of where it started. Went through school, went to University of Pretoria to study a bit there, finished my studies, Nelson Mandela Bay, NMMU, finished there. And when I finished my studies there, I came back to Bloemfontein.
Wow, fantastic. Your club cricket, where did you rate the best out of the 3 or 4 club areas that you played in?
I'd say Pretoria was the hardest. You had every week you had provincial guys you played against. The wickets were very good. Like the standard was really good. You had a lot of guys who were working already, but were still looking to make it as a professional cricket player. Where these days, if you have guys working, they don't tend to play club cricket that often.
100%. Yeah, I think back in the times when you were here, guys like Maurice Arenstam were just like on the field every weekend, Rolf van der Merwe and those guys. So hard cricket, and I think that hard brand of cricket was instilled in you back then.
Yeah.
That's very important. So it leads me to my next question. How important is it for you to ground yourself at club level and club cricket?
Yeah. Well, just hang on. Let me just close the door here. Kids playing drums in the living room. So. I think it's really important. Obviously, if you're lucky, you get picked up straight away into a semi-professional side. But there's only a handful of spots open for that, and even in the academy. So most of the guys will have to go into club cricket. And I think it's a good base, because if you learn how to win games at club level, it becomes easier if you can find your game there. You know, there's probably a little bit less pressure, but the wickets are a little bit harder. So you need to learn at club cricket which scoring zones you can play. And so, for example, if you play on a bit of a green one, a little bit underprepared, you put the drive away. And then it's similar when you come to the Wanderers, you play on a slope, you know, with a bit of grass, you need to put that drive away. So I think there you learn the basics of the game, and you can learn your game. And if you can find your game before you go into a semi-professional environment or a full professional environment, you just tweak it a little bit here and there, maybe a few technical things, the transition is a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to touch on something you said there earlier. A handful of guys get picked up pretty early, but it's really only a handful of guys. What's the fine line or the balance between taking a youngster and going too early, maybe exposing him to franchise and semi-pro stuff too early and get broken down, or maybe leaving him at club cricket too long, despondent, and losing him along, you know, to the wilderness?
Look, it's difficult. I think obviously, ideal world, you want to develop every player to his max potential, but a lot of it is on the player as well. The guy's going to go through dips and highs and all that. So if he goes through a dip and, you know, he doesn't get picked up maybe at the age of 20, and then he decides he wants to quit and start working, I mean, that's on the player. A lot of guys that was a lot better cricket players than myself stopped playing it after they studied, because they just thought, well, I'm either going to go work, I don't have a contract, so I want the money. So he went into work. So where I kind of went, okay, well, I really want to play cricket. I didn't go SA schools, I didn't go national academy, but I really wanted to play cricket. So I just stuck at it. And I think my chance came, Nite van Wyk hurt his shoulder in a game, and I was already in Bloemfontein. And Uwe Spinaar got pulled up to the Knights team, and they like phoned me like, listen, we need a player, can you come down? And I made 70. Next game I was captain of Free State, and then here I am playing for the Knights, what, like 7-8 years later. So it's on the player, I reckon. You must have the talent, obviously, but if you've been identified as a guy who's got some talent, then it's really on your shoulders whether you want to make it work or not. Obviously, everyone we want to get in, but there's only 11 spots in a team. So you got to make sure you're one of the best guys. And if you're a batsman, one of the top two, I'd say. Because if you're one of the top 6, it can go either way in a selection thing. But if you're one of the top 2, you'll be in the team.
Definitely. So it seems to go pretty quick when you get that call. And guys need to also realize how close they are to actually making that next step and not give up too soon. So that's definitely quite important. Jumping onto the Knights, you did mention the Knights. You've been there for like 7 or 8 years or whatever it might be now. They're generally a team that either grows youngsters and then the youngsters get poached, or they get some guys at the back end of their retirement that just want to like play sort of a good brand of cricket, but find their way out of the game. In recent times, you guys have signed some really good guys, but we're going to start off obviously with Alan Donald. How do you think it's going to go there with him at the helm?
Look, I think we needed a guy like Alan to come in to give us that international experience. We don't, in our squad itself, like you said, we've lost a hell of a lot of players. If you look at guys going around the country at the moment, Dean Algar, who was a leader in our team, captain a lot of the time, a very good player. He's moved on to the Titans. Riley Rousseau has moved on. Now, Dwan Williford, who would have been a senior player, has moved on as well. So we lose a lot of players when they're kind of like at their best. So to get a coach that's coached at the highest level, that knows the ropes, that knows how to get players to play at their best and how to play certain situations was vital for us. We really needed a coach with some good experience, and I'm sure Al will fit the mold pretty well.
I think so. I think with him being there ready, from what I've noticed, you've signed quite a few really talented youngsters. You want to take us through a couple of them?
If I can go youngsters only, obviously the new guys we've got in is a guy like Mich Pretorius. Had a really good 2 red ball seasons for the Lions. Did very well in a white ball competition in Dubai. I feel, or we feel, he's probably one of the best bowlers going around. And if you put him next to a Gerald Coetzee with a Budaza and an Alfred Matua, then we have a really strong bowling attack. And it's kind of guys, especially Mick, who's maybe been overlooked a little bit at his previous franchise or maybe in South Africa. But we feel in our conditions and what his skill set is, and from playing against him, the threat he poses, we feel he's gonna win us a couple of games. The other youngsters or new guys we've got, Farisco Adams, he's been around on the block quite a bit. Matthew Kleinveld hasn't had all the opportunities in the world at the Cobras, but he comes with solid numbers. Alfred Matua comes from the Titans as well. He'll fit in really well in our conditions. Maybe a little bit slower wickets. His cutters will grip a little bit more. So I think we've made some clever signings for this year. Obviously, then we sit with youngsters we've signed in the previous season. Makwetu, Van Tonder, Janssen was at Free State last year as well. So we sit with a really good group of young players. Probably one of the better groups of young players in the country. It's those middle tier players that now have to kick on, and that was fringe players, but now have to cement their spot and put in some match-winning performances.
100%, yeah. So I think since you've taken over, has been one of the reasons why obviously all these youngsters are quite keen. You're quite influential. They respond well to you, and that's probably one of the reasons why they've signed with you. With that being said, the philosophy that you're going to go out there this season, the mindset, the game plans. I know you don't want to give us too many clues, but yeah, what you got up your sleeve?
Look, you can say our plan is to bowl full and straight, and then the first one goes on the cut, and then that whole plan goes out the window. So you can say this is how we want to play, but at the end of the day, you get a spinner that's turning at a mile, then what can you do? So I think what we did well this year is we started well in the 4-day competition. We knew exactly what roles we had for the players. We had game plans for how the brand of cricket we wanted to play. And we got those players in for 4-day stuff. Maybe in the white ball, we weren't always as consistent as in the 4-day stuff. So we had to sit down. We had to look what type of players we had, because we always had this, the blueprint. Every team has this blueprint. This is how we play the first 10. This is how you play the middle overs, etc., etc. So we kind of scrapped that and we said, okay, what do we have as players? What's their strengths and how do they want to play? And we kind of formulated the game plan around their strengths and the way they want to play. So I think this year will be the same, but we kept challenging the guys to say, listen, it's not an excuse. If you say you want to go after the bowling, it's not an excuse to hit it straight up in the air. You have to find a way to be better. You have to think on your feet, see the conditions and all that. But we allow you to go and make a decision and to express yourself and to play the game. So this year we'll probably be hammering that down as well. Think on your feet, make a decision, back that decision. In training, put yourself under pressure. Let's see if we can solve problems quicker than the opposition. Stuff like that. Really thinking out the box and putting ourselves in a position where we can adapt quicker than the opposition.
Definitely. So yeah, I think that's a good one.
Put a brand to it, but that's the mentality.
Yeah. Well, that's great. You want guys to take ownership and responsibility by the sounds of it. And if they can do that, it makes your life as a captain so much easier.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just moving on to this lockdown that we're sitting with. I got a lot of questions. I didn't jot them all down, but not the easiest time. What are you keeping yourself busy with? Training outside of cricket? What are you doing at the house there?
I'm in a winter group, like a national winter group. We're probably about, I'm not sure, 60, 65 players from around the country that's under one WhatsApp group at the moment to try and stay fit and to monitor what we're doing. So at the moment it's quite difficult to stay up, up in fitness levels up. But we've got a program that we have to try and do. Obviously, I don't have a full gym set up here at my house, so it's luckily we moved into a house with a bit of a bigger yard, so I can do a couple of shuttles and stuff like that. But it mostly comprises of shuttles, lunges, probably 2 sessions a day. Try and keep busy, try and keep it up, and then obviously the daughter at home keeps me quite busy. A 2-year-old running around the garden with 3 dogs, that'll keep you going as well.
Definitely. I saw you did a little 5K today, 22 minutes.
26 around
26.
Yeah, it was a straight line. 22.
22 minutes, it's tough. It's hard work. So well done on that. I didn't notice that. Chatting on to the Proteas side, you got your national call-up. What was that like, and who did you call first?
I don't remember who I called first. Probably my dad. He's been the guy that's probably thrown me the most balls over the years. Always there for a bit of advice. I think I phoned him first. I'm not sure. The wife was obviously in the house, so she was over the moon. Very excited, but I must say, from going into the team and going into the vibe of it, I kind of like, it's difficult to explain, but my mind wasn't as racy as I thought it would be, or I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be. I kind of saw it as a challenge or an opportunity to see what I can bring at that level. And obviously things didn't, we lost the series 2-1 to Australia. I didn't have great performances, but I had a taste of what it was, and it was a good challenge, and I can see some things where I can work on, and I saw some things that other guys were doing and that I can definitely take into my game. So I saw it as a good opportunity to show what I can do, and just for myself to see what I can do and how good I can be.
Definitely. That sounds great. So you sort of went out there and batted in your normal sort of position. Call it the finisher role, if you will. Sometimes I call it more the rescue role, but it's not an easy position. It's not an easy one to be tagged under. How do you gear yourself up for that position within the national side? I know you've done it so well now the last 2-3 years at franchise level, but at the Proteas setup, what sort of pressures are you feeling that's different?
Obviously, when you get into the Proteas setup, you don't want to leave there. You don't want to do badly and then get dropped. So you feel a little bit of pressure going in there, like I want to do well. Where at the Nites it was, and MSL, where you've done it a few times, you kind of like, okay, I just have to do the job. Where with the Proteas, you feel a little bit more, obviously, because I haven't done it at that level yet. You feel like I want to do well. So that external focus, and probably not the focus on the right spot on the job, was the difficult bit. But because I'm a little bit older, I found I could change that mindset pretty quickly. You know, in the warm-up, when you start thinking about those things, I could change and swap quickly to what's my job at the moment and what do I have to do now. And it doesn't guarantee you success, but at least it gives you a chance to do well when you focus on the right thing. But yeah, it was a great experience, and how I geared for batting 5-6. Preparation is a little bit different than for 4-day cricket. I try and Bouch was throwing to me in the nets, then I try and say to him, okay, I'll do, let's say, 10 balls of basics, good positions, and then 10 balls of call a zone, over cover, straight, over mid-wicket, and I try and get it in that area just to put yourself out of comfort zone a little bit. And you don't know what you're going to get in the match. You know, you might have a funky field setting with a bowler that you've never seen before. So try and think out the box. The same things I'm trying to install at the Nites, and what we're trying to do there, I try to interpret when I was batting at the Proteas.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I'm gonna throw those numbers out there again of your last 2 seasons at MSL and the Rand Slam. So averaging 31.55 at a strike rate of 132.6 or something like that. That's incredible. So what's next on the list? What's your next goal, or what's next on your bucket list there?
It's funny, I didn't see myself really going into a Proteas team as a 2020 player. I was always like, I want to play Test cricket. Test cricket was always what I worked for. 4-day cricket, I started my pre-season, I work on my 4-day stuff, trying to get into a Test setup. The 2020s, I think maybe because at the Nites we had so many good players over the years, Riley Rousseau, you know, Andre Russell came in for a bit, Morne van Wyk, so many good white ball players that I was always a fringe player. So with the 4-day stuff, I was more of a certainty in the team. So kind of the 2020 stuff was just like not a bit of fun for me, but more enjoyable. Yeah, just go and play. You know, you're going to bat 5-6. You can't lose really. If you get 5 off 2 balls, yeah, you made 5, but you did a good job. And if you walk into pressure and you make a 30 off 30 balls, and you've done a good job there. So I kind of see 5 and 6 as it is a difficult position to do well, but if you see it that way, then you're going to look at the stats and you're going to go, oh, yeah, well, my stats are going down quickly. But your job is to do, maybe get a 10 off 3 or 4 balls. That's maybe the job you need to do. So I kind of looked at it like that and tried to enjoy my cricket when I played 2020. It is fun. There's big crowds. So for me, it's just about enjoying and expressing myself and trying to put the opposition under pressure.
Definitely. Great. Yeah, that's incredible. So a quick one that just came to my mind. Not on my list of questions. Getting on one knee and like paddle sweeping stock. What's your thoughts before that? Surely that's premeditated.
There's a funny story with that actually. I played a 3-day game in Namibia, and it was the over just before lunch, and a spinner came on and he had the whole field up. And I said to myself, just be brave and just pop him now. So after lunch, he has everyone out. And I ended up coming down the wicket, and I threw my bat, slipped out mine, and I threw it like over mid wicket. The keeper missed the stumping by a mile. Anyway, next ball, same field. I said, just be brave, just go again. He's not going to expect it. Anyway, so Stark, same thing. I thought, well, last over, just be brave and just go on the knee. He's not going to expect me going on my knee here first ball, trying to sweep him over fine leg. So luckily it was more or less in an area that I thought it was going to be, and then luckily we had a misfield in the boundary as well, so that helped.
It definitely helped. 100% correct. Talk briefly about some of your sponsors, or one in particular, actually. I know you are one of the loyal guys in the country. You've been with a brand and you've stuck with brands for years before this brand, and you met Siobhan, I don't know how many years ago, and formed this partnership with him. You want to take us through his brand and who he is, and a little bit about him and the brand itself?
Yeah, Siobhan Doyle, he runs his brand out of Cape Town. It's Genesis, Genesis South Africa. Been with him for, as you say, quite a couple of years now. He's given me really good service. He's got a personal touch, a personal relationship with me, knows my family, very good friend of mine. So what can I say? I mean, if he gives me good quality kit and the personal relationship is there, that's all you want as a player, really, a personal relationship. You don't want as a player, the brand doesn't want a player that just uses the kit and it's just a one-off season or two seasons. You want a guy that's going to stick to it, try and build a brand, build a relationship, and that's really important to me. Like you say, I've had brands in the past that was 6-7 years relationships that I built up. Stumbled across this guy. He kind of helped me a little bit to create awareness and all that, and he's doing a really good job for me at the moment.
Definitely. So you touched on awareness there. So I just want to bring everyone up to speed quickly. You have a gorgeous young daughter. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. You want to take us through that and the challenges it poses on you as a family and just everyday awarenesses around it? Because I don't think a lot of people actually know what it is or much about it, to be honest.
Yeah, so cystic fibrosis is a genetic mutation that she gets. She gets one gene from me, one gene from her mom. I've got no issues, no illness, anything. Jess, my wife, has got no illness. No, but unfortunately, because she's got both genes, she's got the cystic fibrosis illness. So it impacts your lungs. The mucus in your lungs is too thick. So once you get a bacteria or a bug or anything like that in there, it multiplies quicker than normal bug or normal lungs in normal people. So for her, she'll get sick a lot quicker. The sickness will stay with her a lot quicker. It'll be a lot harder to get over it. The mucus in her intestines is also thicker, so vitamins, all the stuff that she needs to get in, it struggles to get through the thicker mucus. So she's got medication and treatment that helps her with that every day. We are very careful with her going around any sick people, playing around dirty places, mud. I basically, with the COVID-19 thing going on now, washing your hands, I think people feel what we've been going through for the last 2 years, washing your hands every 10 seconds or 10 minutes. So yeah, it's a bit of a battle, but she's doing really well. At the moment, we've had no real issues, despite it being quite a tough illness to have. Hopefully it continues, and they're doing some great work all over the world to get some better treatments going. Yeah,
definitely. And that's, I think, just touching on the previous one, that's the sort of awareness Siobhan is doing. I know he's putting the stickers on his bats as well. So creating some awareness for you and just for the disorder as a whole around the world. So yeah, let's hope there you go. Let's hope it improves.
That is, so it's the slogan for cystic fibrosis is a fight we must win.
Yeah.
And cystic fibrosis, yeah.
Fantastic. And I see a lot of guys are using it. I saw Jock's name on had it on his bat. So a lot of guys supporting the cause.
They don't have sponsored cars at the moment, so they'll put a sticker on.
No, definitely. We'll get that sorted. We'll get everything sorted as well as a bit of support we're hoping for. I'm going to throw you in a quick scenario, just a general scenario. You captaining on any given day. Some of the roles you need to run through as captain, just to help some younger guys watching, things you need to think about. I know you can't look after everyone on the park, but just the ins and outs of it.
Are we talking match day or
match day?
Match day. Okay,
yeah.
So match day usually the morning will be, as I walk into the change room, it will be very much what I need to get myself ready. I'll start off with a bit of a hit to get myself ready. Maybe if I need some physio work to get that done. Fill in the team sheets, make sure everyone knows if they're playing or not, where they're batting, etc. If there's one or two guys that maybe I need to reaffirm what their role is and what we want from them in the team, I'll have a quiet chat on the side, but generally trying to keep it quite relaxed. And then before we go out into the warm-up drills, we'll have a little huddle on the field with regards to what the plan is. I'll have a few words with what I expect of the guys and mainly what I expect from the warm-up and the intensity we go into the warm-up. Then we go off the field, we'll have a get dressed, and as we go down in the huddle, the last little bit there, I'll just make sure bowlers know which ends they're going, obviously, and that's quite important. They tend to get it wrong, the big fast bowlers. And then a final few words of motivation. Most of the captaincy stuff probably happens in the week leading up to the game, especially with the roles and stuff like that. In the game, usually guys know what is expected of them, and it's from there, it's just managing and thinking on your feet as the game goes.
Definitely. Okay, just trying to help the youngsters here as well, give them some ideas of what goes into being a captain. You can't just look after yourself, boys. So most important.
Yeah, you've got to know what the guys are doing. Obviously, if you bowl or if you bat, you know their strengths, know what they want to do with the ball, be on the same wavelength as your bowlers. A lot of the times, a bowler will have a certain plan, and in your captain, in your mind, you have a certain plan, and you've got to find a line where allow the guy to do his thing, but also that game plan must fall into the general game plan, and that's where you're sitting with the team goggles on, and the bowler maybe sits with his performance goggles on, and that's where you've got to find a balance where his performance is also important for him. A guy on a fourfer, maybe you need to take him off. He's getting a little bit tired. He wants to keep going to get that fifer, and sometimes you've got to give it to him, and other times you've got to be harsh and put your foot down and say, listen, buddy, now's not the time. We can always bring you back a bit later. But the biggest thing is you've got to know the strength of your players and play them as much as possible to their strengths, so you can get the game to swing your way, if you can put it like that. Yeah.
Definitely. So you're always thinking a couple of steps ahead.
Yeah. And obviously, the opposition. Well, you got to know not know the opposition, but you've got to assess quickly what they're trying to do. So maybe change your field to a little bit more defensive field if you see they're attacking, or maybe change them to a little bit more attacking, even if they're attacking, so you can buy a wicket. You've got to read the game where you are, where you want the game to go, and sometimes you've got to pull a rabbit out the hat with a funny field change or a funny bowling change. And if it comes off, you look great, and if it doesn't, then you take a bit of stick in the media.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
One of those things. Anyway, that's it with the questions I had. I've got a couple of public questions here that I jotted down. So I'm going to start off with one. What is the biggest mental change you made in your batting that helped you reach the success you have in recent times?
Biggest change I've made, we got a guy in called Ruan Botha. He worked with the Cheetahs quite a bit. He's a performance coach, team performance coach, and he did like 8 profiles. It's an NFL model, so you either fall under one of the 8 profiles, and that gives you mental strengths and mental weaknesses. And we identified one of the mental weaknesses for me is fear of failure. And because I was always a fringe player, every time I got a chance, I had to make sure I score runs. So if you have to make sure you score runs, trying to hit a guy over the top becomes a lot more risky. And now I think now that I've learned that fear of failure was kind of the thing that held me back, I had to let it go, and my focus shifted to making a winning play rather than fear of getting out or fear of making a mistake or fear of looking bad. Instead of what is the job, what does my team need from me now? And then my focus just shifted a little bit. It was a small tweak. but I had to hear it and I had to see it in the tests we did. So I think that was the biggest thing that changed my game. Yeah.
Definitely, and we've noticed that ourselves. We've seen it in you, and well done. Long may it continue.
Thank you.
Next one that I got here. What is your game preparation? I think you did touch on it slightly now. What is your game preparation and mindset before game?
It varies from formats. If you go 4-day cricket, usually we'll go. If we play the Lions, for example, we'll go. Beer and Hendricks will play for them. We'll open the bowling. So on a Monday, I'll go in. I'll start doing bowling machine at a left-hander's angle, ball shaping back into me. 2 left-arm spinners they've got. I'll start getting some throwdowns with left-arm spin. So basically looking at the opposition, the venue we play, maybe it's at the Wanderers. So trying to keep the fuller ball, a bit more cautious on the fuller ball, and on the short ball a little bit more aggressive. So just formulate a good game plan early in the week and then try and prep in that week for whatever you want to do or execute on game day.
Definitely. So you're planning slightly ahead. I think it's quite difficult for schoolboys. I don't know who they're going to come up against.
Yeah.
I mean, at franchise level, club level, a little bit easier because you know you're getting it every other weekend, so you can prepare quite easily for that.
And we have video analysis, obviously, as well of the opposition, so that helps.
For sure, it helps massively. Yeah. How do you go about putting away your ego while batting?
That's quite difficult. Again, it comes down to what does the team need from you now. Sometimes, I mean, I just had some stats go around today with a guy I spoke to. I actually saw I think I had 7 or 8 innings in the 4-day competition this year, and I literally threw my wicket away, I think 3 times, twice caught in a boundary, trying to hit sixes in a 4-day game when it was probably not necessarily in that over to try and go for it. So if you look at it, your ego still gets in the way, but if you can manage your ego, you know, a lot of times you get into a heated spell with a bowler and there is a bit of pride going. I mean, it is a game and you're competitive. You're playing against someone who wants to get you out. So sometimes you want to put him under pressure. And I think the right way to go is to back yourself, but you can also back yourself in defense and when you need to absorb a little bit. So the ego game, I mean, guys from the Free State, they call us the cowboys sometimes. The ego game is quite strong.
As long as the guys can learn to manage it, I guess.
Especially with Job in your team. Huh?
Well, there you go. You've got to work with those youngsters, I guess. Last one, playing cricket in the UK. Beneficial. How many years have you done it? I know you've done it for quite a while. Is it worth it for the youngsters? And let's just throw it out there. What's your best club that you've been at?
Yeah, I was a number of years. I did 1 year in England, 2 in Holland, and then I think 7 or 8 in England at the same club again. So I feel as a batsman, every time I went to England, I came back, I was sharper than the guys who stayed, who were just bowling on the bowling machine, etc. Although the pace of the bowlers in club level that size maybe not as good or as quick, and the wickets maybe a little bit slower. My adaptation to the game plan and going into games was a lot better. I think for 3 or 4 years in a row, I scored 100 or an 80 in the first game back. So I would say definitely for me, it helps massively. And also the mental rest you get that side. So you do play cricket on a Saturday, but your training is a lot less. You practice on a Thursday, maybe one more day in the week. So mentally you're fresh when you come back. Plus you get a bit of game time. It's completely different conditions over there. You play a completely different brand. You don't just stand and hit through the line on the ground with those slow divvy-dobblers and the keeper up and the green seaming wickets. So you learn how to play a bit later. And the biggest thing for me is you're the professional. If they get you out, you lose the game. So that's the biggest thing for me. The game is completely in your hands, whether you win or lose. So there you learn to take responsibility. I would say, and I encourage all the guys to go to England. I know it's not always easy with guys going into high performance camps and squads and all that, and the coaches all wanting to stay here. But if it was up to me, I'd send every guy to England to play a season or 2 there.
Definitely. I think there's massive benefit in it, and we try and send a lot of guys over and build relationships in that regard. So long may it continue for everyone that's trying to get over. Definitely.
As well. Yeah.
Cool. Jumping on to our last thing for the evening. This isn't going to take long at all. 1-word answers only. Quick, I'm going to shoot through them, fire them at you, and then you 1, 2, 3 words, whatever it is. But don't think about it, just fire away. Your favorite cricketer?
Ricky Ponting.
Role model?
Michael Jordan.
Best food?
Steak.
Greatest band?
Ooh. No favorite.
Bush or beach?
Bush.
Bat first or bat second?
Bat first.
Best character trait?
Persistence.
Okay, good. Worst character trait?
Temper.
Okay, red ball or white ball?
Red ball. What?
And then the last one, read a book or watch a movie?
What's the book?
No, just generally.
Movie.
Movie. Okay, great. Pite, thanks so much for your time this evening. Appreciate it. We're really trying to keep this light-hearted and make it a bit of fun with a bit of learning. So, yeah, thanks for your time and giving me a bit of insight into your life, and appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Good
Cool.
chat.
I'm just going to quickly say cheers to everyone. Thank you for your time. Wednesday night next week, 8 o'clock, we're going to have a new guest. I'll announce it over the weekend. So do have a good time, and we'll see you then, hopefully. Pite, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Keep well. Cheers. Bye.